The following episode of Dad vs. Daughter was made possible by a contribution from Grand Gamers Guild. Endeavor Age of Sail is a collaboration between Burnt Island Games and Grand Gamers Guild. Now you can see from the size of the box, this is just huge. That's because there's just a ton of components in here. There's a lot of different ways that you can play. So let's get it to the table, and I'm going to show you kind of the basics on how the game is played. And then we're going to peek in on a turn between Dad and his buddies. And then we're going to tell you what we think. So check it out. There's a lot going on with the Endeavor board, so I want to kind of walk you through the various parts of the board as well as kind of walk you through setup. Now, the board is double-sided. Now, this is the side that's recommended for 2, 3, or 4 players, and you'll notice that a lot of these tracks over here only have 4 spots. We do have some over here that are more, but if you flip the board over, you'll see that this is a recommended side for 4 or 5 players. And you'll notice now that some of these tracks have a lot more spots on those. But for the setup, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the other side of the board because that's the side that we're going to use in our playthrough. Now the first thing you're going to do is you're going to place tokens out on the board. Now there's 95 tokens, and the game comes with these cardboard tokens, but I have upgraded them with the tokens from Board Game Geek. Now these are these nice acrylics. You can see there, Board Game Geek at the time was selling them for $25. So if this is something you're interested in, you might want to go grab those because they are very nice. Also, this is not a bag that comes with the game. It's a bag that I had, so it works actually pretty well. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to seed the board with those 95 tokens. We're going to put them on every one of those round spaces. I guess before I cover those up, I should show you that we have our cities that are in those spots, and we have our sea spots that are there. And then whenever you have both of these spots, you'll notice there's a line connecting, and there is a round spot there. You're going to be able to take the token that is there. So that's a way that you can get extra tokens. So let's go ahead and put all those tokens out on the board. And using the bag helps randomize them. You're just going to place those on all of these circular spots. Now you'll notice that there are some of these spots that are square. Those do not get tokens, and those are going to be worth victory points at the end of the game. Now we're also going to put tokens on these spaces as well. Essentially, any place that you see a circular spot is going to get a token. So as you can see, the bag is empty, so all 95 tokens are going to go on the board, regardless of which side of the board you're using. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to place our asset cards out on the board. Now, each of the different sections on the board representing the different parts of the world are going to have their own asset cards, and they're going to have their own, basically their icon on the back of the card. But the cards themselves are going to be numbered 1 through 5, and you'll notice the number is down there. And you're going to want to have them in this order, and then you're basically just going to place those on the various spots on the board, and you'll see because it's going to match the icon on the back. So we have Africa, we have in Europe, we have our slavery cards, and we also have our Europe asset cards, have our Far East, India, North America, Caribbean, and South America. Now, you're able to get these whenever you take a crate action, and what they're going to do is the number at the bottom is going to tell you how much presence you have to have in that area. So I just have to have one of my markers in this area or in the open space there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to get this benefit, and this is going to allow me to increase 2 spaces on my building track as well as gain another disc. I want to point out that on the back of the governor cards, they have the same rewards there. That's because you're going to be placing these on your board in this manner. So when they're out on the board, they're like this orientation, basically landscape. But when you go to your board, you can put them in portrait mode. So these are going to be placed on the various areas on the board. And you'll notice they have little stripes that kind of match up. And you're just going to slide those under those spots on the board. Now, Europe does not have governor cards because we're going to start with that area already opened up. The next part of setup is our building tray. And you'll notice we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 level buildings. There's 3 different ones for each, except for the level 5s. Now the level 5s actually come with a stack of these. So what you're going to do is you're going to shuffle these up. You're going to place one there. You're going to place another one here. Oops. And then you're going to take those remaining ones and you're going to place those face down here. And then place another one face up right over the top of that. Players are going to be able to pick which color they want. Their choices are red, purple, blue, yellow, and white. Now, you know I will ding a game if they don't have green as a primary color, so a player color, so there is no green here. So a little bit of a ding there. But each player is going to get one of these, and this is a really nice little tray that keeps all of the components together. So you've got your supply of discs here that you're going to use to mark places on the board that you can control, as well as on your player board as far as the actions you take. You've got your player crests. You're going to have 3 of those, and those are going to be used for the exploits, and I'll talk about those later. And then you're also going to start with one of these starting buildings. And now this is double-sided, and you'll notice we have the flag action here, and then if we flip it over, we have the ship action. So at the beginning of the game, players are going to decide which side of this that they want to use to start the game off with. Also underneath there, you'll see that we have markers, and those are for each of the tracks that we're going to have on our player board that's going to mark our progress. Here's a look at our player board. So we're going to take those markers, we're going to place those on the 0 spot of each one of our tracks here. So the track with the brick, that is our industry track. That allows us to build the buildings that I showed you earlier based on the level that we're at. So since we start at level 0, we have 1 building. The second track is our culture track. Now, where we're at on that shows us how many of the discs we're going to have available on our turn. Next, we have our wealth track. That's going to show us how many of our workers or our discs we're going to be able to return at the end of the turn, because as we're placing those on the various buildings, we have to be able to bring some back. And then finally, we have our influence track, and that's going to show how many cards that we can support on our player board. Over on the left side, we have our flow of play chart that shows we're going to buy a building, we're going to get our number of discs based on where we're at on the culture track. We're going to return any discs from buildings based on our wealth track. And then it's going to show that we're going to do a check to make sure that our cards match our card limit. You'll see we've got a space here for our starting building. And then it shows a space for each of the additional rounds. So you can see we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds. This is where we're going to assign the discs, and I realize I didn't mention that when we went through the setup, but you'll notice that you've got the various actions that you can take: the ship, the flag, the cannon, the income, or the crate action. We will randomly choose a start player, and they're going to get this really cool 3D crown. You can see that's really great production value there. After you've played the base game a certain number of times and you're very comfortable with how that game flows, then what you can do is you can add what they call exploits. Now the game comes with this huge stack of exploits. You're only going to use 3 of these in a game, or if you decide you can use 1, 2, however many you really want. In our playthrough, we're going to pick 3 because we are close to Play Like a Pirate Day. So the 3 that we're going to choose for this playthrough is the Dutch East India Company, the Letters of Marque, and the Republic of Pirates. Now I'm going to kind of talk about this in the playthrough as far as what each one of these does. Now that I've walked you through setup, we're going to peek in on a turn with Dad and his buddies as we play through a 3-player game. And I think you're going to get a really good understanding of how the game flows, how the actions are taken, and how the board state changes. All right, so James is the first player because he has the crown. Your head's a little too big to fit that crown, though.
I'm not trying to take that. Okay, so building I'm going to buy, I can buy level 3. I think I will purchase. Let's go ahead and we need a theater.
And as you can see, this game is kind of a table hog, so you're not able to show everything
Level
on camera.
2 top.
Level 2 tops. Yeah.
It's a bank, I think.
Getting a bank. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Tim.
You know, I will also go for the this.
The theater? The theater? Okay, so I will get 2, 4, 6. And pay my people.
I'll get 4, and I'll be able to pay my dues to come back. Now, I will point out we are using 3 exploits. We're using the Republic of Pirates, which has been unlocked. We're using the Letters of Marque, which is partially unlocked, and the Dutch East India Company, which is also partially unlocked.
Okay, I'm going to do a dock action, which allows me to do a shipping and occupy. I am going to occupy this fort right here, which then gets me this token, and since I am on both sides of this token, I get this one as well.
So 2 bricks.
2, yeah, 2 build. And then for shipping, I'm going to use one of our exploits. I am going to come over here and put my token in Nassau. Is that right?
Yeah, Nassau.
And this one then comes to where this is at, and I get to choose where I place this one, and it's going to go right there and destroy your disc.
Turnabout is fair play because I had done that previously.
All right, it's my turn.
All right. I'll do a shipping action. Yeah. Shipping action, and I'll just start the shipping lane here.
And you've already taken over all of Africa too.
Yeah, he
Wow.
keeps getting 4 turns for every one that we get. Not that I'm angry. I still have not gotten a blue disc.
Wow.
I've set myself up for several and having had them stolen from me.
I can give you a blue disc right now if you want to know.
Wrong kind of blue disc.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where you can put your blue disc.
Family-friendly show.
You know, let's do a ship and a flag action. So we're going to take this ship here. And
That's it.
yep. Place me over there, please.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Probably should be paying attention.
Would you like to become governor of Nassau? You can give up one of your governor cards.
I may have to soon. Just because I have so many of them. Sorry. So humble, I know.
You have all of them at this point, correct? Yeah.
I didn't do that. I apologize. That's fine. So I guess I could do that anyway. Because I could kick that off. Yep. Alright, well, I guess we'll just do shipping action, and then we'll just go and take that.
Yeah, of course.
And then, alright, next.
I had actually thought about doing that. Chris, you're welcome.
Alright. pie.
Take anything I can get right now.
Nope. There you go. Yep. And
Now it's open.
so that unlocks.
So
which
that
one?
unlocks the letters Mark. Have the key, please.
Yep.
We now all have presence in South America. Which I'm kind of surprised that the Republic of Pirates does not allow you to sail down there as well. You know, because you got Barbados and Trinidad and where's Tortuga? That's still in the Caribbean, or is this still part of? This is probably the top part of South America, there, isn't it? So maybe that's all included there.
Must be.
That's like way down south.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way the map's presented on the board makes it a little difficult to kind of to figure out exactly where.
Chris, you can clean up over there.
Not if you do what you're about to do.
Well, I am looking for a specific type of token, and I need that token. So I'm going to do this and go there and take that one because I need those shields. But your turn.
What cannons are available for building next round?
Why are you fighting me here?
We'll do a ship and an occupy. So we'll occupy here, and we'll ship there.
Right.
There
And
you go.
you get this right here.
Yeah. Great, I can hold more cards.
All right. I'm going to take the cannon action, and I am going to go here. Sorry, James.
And burn one. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just going to have a leftover disc, you know. It's,
I need one more of those.
You don't need anything.
I need it all. I could just do that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. Alright, we're just gonna do a basic occupy action. Basic occupy, we're just gonna do this because one's gonna need the shield. Alright.
What can I do to remove shields from James? I'm going to do the crate action and take that. Disc. And two.
I have passed. I have no disc left.
I'm gonna use this purchase to
Bring one of your dudes
take,
back.
yeah, take one of these back. It doesn't make much of a difference, but okay. Back to you, Chris.
Pass.
Okay, so one token left. I guess I will do Nassau, but I'll do it correct this time. I'll do the shipping action on that,
Okay.
which then would put my disc there. This one would then go to the ship here, and then I'll put it there.
Well, that's not nice.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, you're
And then they'll come back around to me and I'll pass.
All right. That's the end of the round.
Alright.
All right. So the last thing we will do in the round is look to see if we can support as many cards. My shield is way up there. I can support 3 cards. I only have 1. Chris is way up there as well, and he can support 2. James, you have 4 cards, and you can support all the way up to 5, so we're all good. Hopefully, after watching that turn, you got a really good sense of how the game is actually played. And just for those that are curious, the outcome of that was James won with 67 points, Chris finished with 50, and I finished with a lowly 37. There's a couple of big mistakes I made, I think, during the game, and a couple of things I probably should have done to kind of correct that, but I didn't do that because I'm not that great of a gamer, right? kind of a brief explanation on how you score points in the game. You're going to look at where you are on the various tracks, and you're going to get points. So you'll notice on the first track here, I'm on level 5, but we actually score if we are at where the bricks show here, or basically the symbol for that track. So even though I'm at 5, I'm going to score 4 points for that track. Here, I'm actually going to score 7 because that's where I'm on there. Same with this track. I'm going to score 10 points there and 13 points there. Now, you'll notice that each track tops out at 15 points. We're also going to look on the exploits if we played with any, and it's going to show at the bottom where and how we're going to score victory points for those. The other way we're going to score points on the board is by occupying certain areas. So in this case, I would receive 1 point for this because I have one of my markers there. And I'm also going to get this point because I have both of these that connect. So we're going to evaluate all of those spots on the board and award points accordingly. We will also get negative points at the end of the game based on the slavery cards. And if you turn those over, you're going to notice you're going to be getting negative victory points for those. Some of the buildings that you may have acquired during the game may have victory points associated with those. And like the governor cards also, some of those have various victory points printed on them. You'll also get victory points based on the number of unused discs that you have on your harbor. And that pretty much is all there is to scoring. So now that we've walked you through that, let's get to what Dad and his buddies think of Endeavor. I have to admit that the very first time I saw Endeavor Age of Sail, I was a little overwhelmed. I thought there was really a lot going on. You had all these discs all over the board. You had the cards tucked underneath, the player boards, the 4 different tracks that you were keeping track of your stuff on. Seemed a bit much, but I will say that learning the game is actually pretty easy. Teaching the game didn't take very long. And really, before you know it, you're playing the game, everything is flowing nice. Actually, the game plays pretty quickly. Like I said, you're only playing through 7 rounds, and especially the first few rounds when you don't have that many of your discs actually go fairly quickly. Now, the turns are going to slow down more in the later game because you're going to have more of those discs to put out, and you're going to have to start thinking really more about what you're doing as you're trying to open up the various areas on the board, which I think is a really cool aspect of the game, where you can't even go to those until you have completed the track and opened that up. And if you're playing with the exploits, that really is a very neat part of the game, because you could be the only one who has access to that exploit and being able to do what it has on there. Now, other players may see that you're doing that and jump in, but lots of different strategies because of that. And those exploits are going to give you so much different feels for how the game plays that the replayability is through the roof on this, because you're going to be able to mix and match those, play with certain ones that you like your favorite ones. Like I said, we picked those 3 because that kind of gave the game a piratey feel, and with Play Like a Pirate Day, just real close, that's what we wanted to do. Now, I know that the Kickstarter version has some upgraded pieces. Now, their tokens are wooden, but really, I couldn't pass these up on Board Game Geek. $25. You get 95 of these. They look really nice. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with the cardboard pieces, but these are just really cool. I think the graphic on the cards and the buildings themselves is really good, as well as the graphics that are on the exploit cards. The individual player, I guess you call them player trays, is really nice too, because you got the area underneath there, you got your building, you've got all your discs, you've got your crests, and having that little cover is going to keep everything in place. And it's just a really nice production quality. It makes the setup and cleanup real easy. You just decide your player, you take that. Same with the buildings. You've got this super nice tray with the buildings with this this cover on there that says Endeavor. Really nice, keeps everything in its place, so nothing is really going to shift in the box. And speaking of the box, it's got an awesome insert. Show you this here. Now, granted, this is something that I added in there, but you got your spot for your exploits, all the different parts that you're going to use for the various exploits. Everything fits together really nice. The boards lay on top, the building tray and the player trays fit on top of there, so it's really nice. Now you'll notice that this is set up. If you do have the Kickstarter version, it's still going to be the same way, because like the cannons are upgraded in the Kickstarter, and here we just have little cardboard punch outs. Same with these little boats as well. But excellent job. I mean, the production I don't think could have gotten any better. It's just crazy. The gameplay has been phenomenal. I've really enjoyed this game. You do have a sense of exploration of the world as you're trying to open these other areas. You've got your player interaction, especially with the Republic of Pirates, being able to move the pirate ship around. You saw that in our playthrough. Even though James and I kind of ended up going back and forth in the Caribbean and in North America there, it just kind of gives that unique feel. And that's just for that exploit. Highly recommend Endeavor Age of Sail, whichever route you go with, if you are able to get the Kickstarter version, or if you just have this retail version and you bling it out like I have. It's a great game. Don't be intimidated by it. It plays fast. It plays easy. So that's what I think of the game. My buddies, especially the two that played with me today, they really enjoy the game too, because they both have the Kickstarter version, and they've played the game several times. So anybody that I've played this game with, from novice player to those experienced, have really enjoyed it. There's a lot of great things to love about this game. So that is Endeavor Age of Sail from Burnt Island Games and Grand Gamers Guild. Highly recommend it. Go get it, and we'll catch you guys next time. If you'd like to get a better look at all of the different components and the player boards, please check out our unboxing video. If you would like to support us, you can visit patreon.com/dadvdaughter.
Like and follow us on Facebook to stay current on our show schedule, sneak peeks at future shows, and to interact with us.